Started recording now.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today. This is Columbus virtual meetup, MuleSoft meetup. For today's topic, we have Anypoint Code Builder, which is going to be more like a series of meetups on hyper automation in Salesforce, primarily focusing on MuleSoft. And today we have my colleague Jyoti, who is a success architect. He's going to be walking you through the code builder features, some of the roadmap items, and also present a small demo and take any questions that you have. And this is one of the hottest topics right now in MuleSoft and integrations, automating it using AI. So I'm sure this is of a lot of interest to many of us. So it's a new feature. So it'll be good to stay ahead of the people. So it's going to be a good topic. And like I said, this is going to be a series of meetups on this same topic. Today it's code builder, and we'll follow it up with no other relevant sessions in the next several meetups. So handing it over to Naresh, and Naresh, you can introduce yourself, and no, you can. Yeah. By the way, my name is Ramanathan. I'm a success architect director at Mule. Just finished 5 years, a little more than 5 years. I have about 25 years of more than 25 years of experience in integration. So I'm one of the meetup leaders in Columbus, and no, working with Jyoti and Naresh. So Naresh, yours.
Thanks, Ram, for the introduction. Uh, Hello, everyone. If you are been attending this Columbus meetup, you know about me. I've been arranging this online as well as in-person MuleSoft meetups for quite some time, starting 2020. Uh, I've been working uh, in various domains in MuleSoft technology, retail, consumer, healthcare, telecom, and other domains. Yeah, as Ram mentioned, definitely generative AI is a hot topic everywhere. Um, and MuleSoft Salesforce also come up with a flavor how we can use generative AI, and that that's where we Jyoti is trying to, you know, present how exactly we can use AI into our code development, and we'll see how it goes. Good luck, Jyoti, and thanks everyone.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you, Naresh. Welcome, everybody. Hello, amazing folks. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you, I'm thrilled to have you here. Today, we are driving into the universe of Anypoint Code Builder, the coolest thing in the town right now. I'm super excited and to be your guide on this adventure. And trust me, my excitement levels is off the charts. Our mission today is simple. I want to make sure you leave the session not just understanding how Anypoint Code Builder works, but feeling pumped about how it can and what it can do. This tool is like a superhero of fast and easy code development, and it got a sidekick, AI. By end of this session, you will not only know how to use Anypoint Code Builder, but also understand its capabilities, empowering you and your organization to make informed decisions about embracing this tool for agile and effective code development, turbocharged with the power of AI as well, right? So buckle up for some excitement, and let's get started. So we'll start with the agenda here. Now that we have set the stage, let's dwell into nitty gritty of our Anypoint Code Builder journey. Here is a sneak peek into what we are covering today. So first is the Anypoint Code Builder vision. We'll kick things off by painting the big picture, understanding the vision behind Anypoint Code Builder, and Anypoint Code Builder features that will next we'll explore the powerful features that make this tool a game changer in the development world. And in the third one, the getting started with Anypoint Code Builder, here it's a time to roll up our sleeves. We'll walk you through the initial steps to get you up and running with the Anypoint Code Builder, and the road to GA, how far we have come in this evolution of Anypoint Code Builder. We'll discuss that. And here is the exciting part of this session, that is Einstein for Anypoint Code Builder. So brace yourself for the magic of AI. We will explore how Einstein leads its brilliance to alleviate Anypoint Code Builder. And regarding the setup, we'll guide you through the simple setup processes on how to get this Anypoint Code Builder. And regarding the demo, we'll be jumping in and around, not exactly at the end. So if the agenda is good, then we'll just start it. So before I begin, I want to first give a quick reminder that Salesforce is a publicly traded company, and customers should base their purchasing decisions on products and services that are currently available. So what is the vision of Anypoint Code Builder? So Anypoint Code Builder is a powerful tool that developers use to create and manage APIs, integrations, and automations. It's like a special workspace where they can design, build, and develop these things easily. It helps developers work faster by just suggesting the best ways to design their products, and it also provides ready-made components for common tasks, making development quicker and more efficient. With Anypoint Code Builder, developers can save time and efforts, focusing on building great applications without getting stuck down in repetitive tasks. With this vision, Endpoint Code Builder is the MuleSoft next generation IDE, integrated development environment, for APIs and integration development. Our vision for Endpoint Code Builder is to give users modern, lightweight development experience through a single unified IDE. Endpoint Code Builder and Endpoint Code Builder for desktop are both currently in public beta right now. So what makes Anypoint Code Builder different, right? First, we'll embrace new modern dev environment with the Visual Studio as our backend infrastructure. Now developers will have access to the entire ecosystem of Visual Studio extensions, enabling them to work in an environment they are familiar with, that they want to code in, right? And has interoperability across many ecosystems and tech stacks. So we are getting this Anypoint studio into, like, almost getting a studio into the Visual Studio Code, which developers around the globe use. And secondly, we have combined the entire API and integration development experience into a single tool. No more wasted time importing and exporting projects across multiple environments. Tackle everything from design to develop through a single pane of glass. And third, we are bringing the power of AI to MuleSoft development. Devs can now jumpstart projects by using natural language prompts to generate their flows, saving them hours of development time. So you know how ChatGPT and any other LLMs working out there, right? You ask the query in a natural terms, and it give you the response. In the same way, here the development can also be made easy. In that way, you can ask Einstein to write flows for you. You can ask Einstein to build a project for you. These are all can be done using this Einstein feature with the Anypoint Code Builder. That is the most exciting part. And let's dive into how we are bringing the power of AI into Anypoint Code Builder via Einstein slowly. But before we get there, we'll first try to understand what Anypoint Code Builder does right now at this point. What is the basic functionality of Anypoint Code Builder, right? So with the Anypoint Code Builder, you can anyways design, develop, deploy from a single environment. Normally, if you want to design, if you are a traditional MuleSoft developer, you would need to go into Anypoint Design Center and then start the designing RAML or OS specifications based on your chosen language. After designing, you would need to develop. Again, for develop, where will you go? You, as a traditional developer, you would go to the Anypoint Studio and then start developing the code by importing the RAML, which has been already designed in the Anypoint Design Center. And for deployment, you would need again CI/CD pipeline configured, or manually take the jar file and deploy over to the Anypoint platform on the runtime. But here in the Anypoint code builder, you can do all of these steps, 3 steps: design, develop, and deploy in single plane of class in one place. And these features can be done in 2 ways. That is, you can get the extension in the Visual Studio Code. So how does it look? Right now I have a Visual Studio Code here on my desktop, if you are seeing my screen. So in the extensions, if you go and search for MuleSoft or Anypoint Code Builder, there will be an extension present and you would need to install that. Once you have that installed on your Anypoint Code Builder desktop, sorry, Visual Studio desktop, then you will see this icon here, the MuleSoft icon. This is the Anypoint Code Builder. So once you have this, you will have the features like design an API, implement an API, develop an integration, all of these. At the same time, we also have a web version of Anypoint Code Builder. So whenever you land into your Anypoint platform, you will have the first option, Anypoint Code Builder, here as a suggestion if you want to get started. Or the other way to get started with the web-based Anypoint Code Builder is to click on this hamburger button, and on the first you will have the Anypoint Code Builder. If you click that, here you will have two options: either to launch or to get started with the desktop version. As you have seen, the desktop version is the same thing, that you can download the extension manually and then start with the Visual Studio Code. Hope I am clear. There are two versions. One is the web based and the other one is the Visual Studio based. These are the two options available. So, and go faster with the recommendations at the design time. What does that mean? So while designing, it would give you the recommendations on what the next step is, or what that if you're designing an API in the RAML, you would know how proactive it is in suggesting the methods and resources and what are all it can have right inside each. So in the same way, we can go faster with the Anypoint Code Builder as well. So if you want to see, let me just get out of this account and sign into my account to show you. Just give me a minute here. So in the Anypoint Code Builder, if you click on this launch button, that will get started. Initially it will take few minutes for the setup to happen. Once the setup is complete, this is what the landing page will look like for the Anypoint Code Builder. So let's start our, let's take a simple scenario. If I want to design an API, I click on this button here on the top, which is design an API, and this will give you some prompts and give access. Then it will spin up the design center within the Anypoint Code Builder. See, now you can close that tab. So I'm giving a project like a meetup demo, right? And and a RAML 1.0. Here also you have various options to choose: API specification languages, and the business group which you want to create. And just like you create a RAML file, is the same thing. And at the bottom here, you are seeing that creating API specifications as a status. Once it's ready, it will spin up the design part in the Anypoint Code Builder. So here we are in the RAML. So this is just like the design center. Here you will have the same features that Anypoint Design Center does. So if I want to build an application which has like flights, and if I want to see with the interest of time, I will just write paste some code which has already been written. It's just a simple get method. right? And which has a query parameter, and it has a destination as follows, as required destinations. It's a flights API, so it has a get method as a query params, and then we have, I'll just fit this, and we have the query parameters, and then we have the destination as the query parameter, and this is a required, and this is of a type enum, right? And as a response, I'm having 200 as a success response. And under the body, I have this application slash JSON as an example. Once I have this, right, this will also give you the same designer API designer uh, functionality. Like you'll get to see what this API does at the left side. So if you see, this gives you the same look and feel of the design center. You can try this and then send a request, and you can mock this and test that application, basically whatever it's doing, as you are already familiar with these things, right? Exactly the same features as design center I'm getting in the API, sorry, in Anypoint code builder. Now, this is all the traditional way. But what is the new feature of the Anypoint code builder? So instead of publishing this small RAML over to Exchange and then proceed to the next part of the development of an API, I can just click this button here on the top, and this will create the Mule project for me. So it's asking at the top, give a Mule project name. So I'll name it as Meetup demo again as a project name, and it's asking for the resource where it would like to create that project. So as soon as select, it's executing and creating a project for me. So the Mule project will be up and ready in few minutes. The scaffolding of this raml will happen, and the flows will be generated, and basically the development will get start to develop the API without even publishing this entire raml to the exchange, right? While it's happening, let's go back to our presentation, and let's continue on this. So that is the fastness we are talking about, and the embrace code reuse. So everything you develop in the Anypoint code builder, you can create those fragments, and just like you use in the raml, you can also use such code fragments in Anypoint code builder that you can use in between the projects. Suppose you have a Salesforce connector configuration, or you have a, transform message component which you need to use in multiple projects. You can have itself as a separate fragment, and you can as a snippet, code snippet, and you can use across different projects again. So at the bottom you have this run in desktop version or VS Code as we have just seen, and the run in the web for the Anypoint platform as we are seeing right now in the demo, right? So this is what go faster means. It has these recommendations. Once it has the development done, scaffolding of the API, it will create the project for you, and you have that development in place. So how does it look like when you implement an API, right? Let's, so it says the scaffolding process ended. Now you can start the um, iterating over your local API and implementation project. So here on the top, it has created the project for me. See, and it's generating the flows at this center of the canvas. So this is how it looks after it scaffolds the API RAML file which we have just created. So these are just a horizontal representation. In the Anypoint Studio, we have the vertical representation. If you remember, we have the main flow, and inside the main flow, you have this listener and router, right? Inside that, you will also have the same error handling features like a data view, honor, propagate. If you remember, these are all the horizontal depiction in the Anypoint Studio, but here we have the it's a vertical depiction in the Anypoint Studio, but here we are having the horizontal view of the flows in the Anypoint code builder. So basically, it's having the same functionality. It has a listener, router, and right. And if you want to see the list of flows available on the top, you have this flow list. So if I click this, it gives me what all flows available. So I have one uh, of the resource, it's called flights. In the flights, I have a logger right now. So if I want to, oh, I zoomed in, let me zoom out. One moment. So let me just refresh this. Okay. So I was telling that the center still you have this is the in the Anypoint code builder. The most exciting part is you have this code generated XML on the complete right side, and at the center you have this canvas which has those virtual representation of the code. So just give it few minutes that it's loading, and while it's loading, let's go back to our presentation. and uh, and the code reviews, as I said, you can have the component snippets, code snippets that are reusable again. This is the diagram which we will be looking after while we are developing the API. On the right side you have the XML, on the center you have this interactive canvas where you can click and do the configurations, drag and drop, all of those just you have been doing in the Anypoint Studio, right? And also support for the EU control plane is right now present. So if you go to the settings, and in the Anypoint filter platform, you'll have this control plane where you can see in which cloud you are working on. So how to go there? In the settings here at the bottom, if you click on settings, here you can also search for control plane. Here you can see if it is a US or EU. Even you can find this option in exactly at the place where you deploy the API. Before deployment, it will ask you which control plane you would like to deploy. So even there you can know where it's deploying. These are all two options available right now. And iterative API design and implementation, as you see, once we have the RAML here, if you click on that scaffolding button, and it will generate flows for you. And we have seen this in the demo right now, and it will have you this canvas, interactive canvas generated with the flows displayed. So this is called the iterative API design and implementation. This saves time in exporting or publishing that designed RAML over to Exchange. So what are all the Anypoint code builder features available, right? So create API specific, and under the API specification, you can create API specifications with RAML and OS3, test them using a mock server, as we have seen, and access interactive documentation via the API console, collaborate and design with the design center and Exchange for seamless integrations. Under the API implementation, import and scaffold API for quick implementation, maintain real-time synchronization between the API specification and the implementation, utilize a dual experience with both graphical and code views, work intelligently with built-in recommendations, build, deploy, test, and run all of these, and deploy API implementation and use a multi-threaded debugger for efficient development. And under the integration implementation, easily create integration triggers by events or schedulers, work in a dual experience environment with a graphical flow editor and also the code view, which we have seen, make smart choice with integrated recommendations, right? Efficiently build, debug, test, and run and deploy integrations implementations, and leverage a multi-threaded debugger for smoother development. And as we have seen in the demo, once we launch the Anypoint code builder and then design the API specification, you have to mention the name, and then the project description if you want, or in the API specifications, you have all these options, API specification language options, and you can create. So basically, you can author, test, auto generated interactivity is also present, and integrations and collaborations, as you have seen. If you click that button, it will create flows for you, right? And with the integrate systems, it means, so if you see here in the image, you can select the components. Right now it's a Salesforce query, and you can select the environment, and you can also test the connections within the Anypoint code builder. And once the connections is tested, then you can configure and drag and drop the data view or any component you would like to have. It's just few clicks away. And even in the data view, you have this data view platform, which is available within this Anypoint code builder. If you are aware of the data view interactive tool, web tool, right, for your transformations, a lot of developers go there and test. That is also embedded within this Anypoint code builder, so you would get to use that feature also within the same Anypoint code builder. So basically, you have that important scaffolding: build, debug, test, run, and deploy. All of that can be done within this code builder. You can create, and you have this dual experience of visual representation of the flows and also the XML code at the right side. And this is all intelligently done. So right now, Anypoint Code Builder is in beta version. So we started with the stage one with the Docker image, right? And we also had a lot of tutorials readily available and Slack for question and answers on those. And this is only read-only UI. So initially we had this UI view of the code, but it wasn't interactive. We couldn't engage with it much, but it was only visual representation of the code. But in the beta stage 2 with the web IDE, as we have been seeing here, right? With this, now we have the feature of drag and drop, and we can interact. You can configure, develop the flows with the web-based IDE. This is the stage 2 of the beta versions of the Anypoint Code Builder. And here is a small demo recording of what this Anypoint Code Builder can do. So let me play this video. Garcia, product manager working on Code Builder. Today, I'm super excited to be giving you a demo of some of the features that we recently launched with our June release. One of the first things you might notice is that here at the top of the page, I'm actually using an EU Anypoint account. And you might be wondering, why is that? And that's because with the June release, I'm excited to announce that Anypoint Code Builder is expanding its support from the US region to include the EU region as well. So that means users within the EU control plane will now see the Anypoint Code Builder tile on their homepage. They'll be able to click on Let's Get Started, which will take them to the Anypoint Code Builder landing page. And from here, they'll be able to launch their web IDE. So now that I'm within Anypoint Code Builder, I can do a quick check by clicking on the settings icon. Here, I can navigate to my extensions, choose Anypoint Code Builder platform, and we can verify that I am in fact using the EU Cloud Control Plane. Now,
Let's move on to one of the other features that was part of our June release. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a new API specification. From here, I'm going to title this June Demo, and I'll use RAML as my API specification language. So we'll give this a second to create my RAML file, and we'll go ahead and open that up. Now that my RAML file has been created, I'm going to go ahead and paste in some code I've already written. This is an API specification that deals with a contact object and allows me to retrieve a list of contacts or create brand new contacts. So historically, if I wanted to begin my implementation, I would have to publish a new version of this API to Exchange. From there, I could begin building out my backend logic, but if I wanted to make any changes, I'd have to go in, edit my API specification, and then deploy a new version to Exchange before importing and continuing on with my implementation. Well, one of the newest features we launched with our June release called iterative scaffolding changes all of this. So here in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a new icon. And similarly, in the command palette, you'll see a new command that says implement this local API. And what this allows users to do is begin the implementation journey at the same time that they're designing their API specification. Let's go ahead and test this out and see what it looks like. So I'm going to choose this command, and you'll see here at the bottom right, what we're going to be doing is creating a workspace. In a Visual Studio Code, a workspace is just a way for me to group my API specification project and my implementation project and have them both open at the same time. So here, I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the directory for my workspace and click on OK. From here, we're going to give the page a second to refresh now that our workspace is created. And once that's completed, you're now able to see that we're under the June Demo workspace, and I have my June Demo API specification project already open. The next step is to go ahead and name my implementation project and wait for it to be opened underneath the same workspace. I'm going to go ahead and title this June Demo Implementation, and then click on Enter. And we should see the scaffolding operation appear in the bottom right-hand corner. So once I select my directory, we can now see that I am successfully scaffolding my project. Now that my scaffolding operation has been completed, I can see the implementation project appear under the workspace on the left-hand side. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and open up my source main Mule, which will show me my XML view. I'll drag that over to the right-hand side. That way I can see all of my windows open at the same time. And without having to publish my API specification to Exchange, we can now see that all of my XML code has been generated, and all of the necessary flows and subflows appear under my flow list tab. But what happens if I need to make changes to my API specification? Well, here I'm going to go ahead and insert a couple of new endpoints. And using an ID, I can now search for a particular contact, or I can edit an existing contact. Well, you'll notice that these headers turned yellow at the top of the page, and by clicking on this R, it's going to initiate a re-scaffolding operation. So now it's going to take my newly generated RAML file, it's going to re-scaffold, and in just a moment here, you'll see that this implementation screen then updates with my new endpoints and new XML code that was generated based on my updated API specification. This brings me to the last round of changes that we launched as part of our June release. So historically, snippets could only be added through the XML view. But now we can see that when I go to add a component, in addition to core processors and connectors, I now have the option of adding a snippet. And from here, I can choose between either user snippets or built-in snippets that come pre-packaged from MuleSoft. Here, I'm going to be adding a user snippet, and I'm adding a snippet that allows me to transform some of my payload into variables that I can then use for a Salesforce query. Here, we can see that all of this XML code was inserted automatically from my snippet, and the UI is able to recognize that this is a transform step. Now let's say I wanted to add in an operation from a connector that doesn't yet exist in my project. Well, here I can click on the plus icon, and I can now toggle between searching locally or searching for connectors in Exchange. So by clicking on the Exchange icon, you can see we're loading a list of connectors. And for today's demo, I'm going to be looking for BigQuery. Once I find the connector I'm looking for, I simply select it. It's going to load all of the operations available for that connector. Here, I'm going to select the query option, and I'm going to go ahead and add it to my implementation project. We can see that all of the dependencies were successfully added. In the UI, we can see that the component exists and it's generated all of the necessary XML code for me as well. Historically, the ability to import connectors was exclusive to the command palette, but by adding into the UI, we made that user journey so much more simple. That's going to wrap up today's demo, which showcased some of the features that were launched as part of our June release. I look forward to sharing more updates with you in the future. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yeah, so we have seen exactly the same steps in our demo before, right? So now we have seen what Anypoint Code Builder could do, right? The base version, and now we'll see on who has access, what is available, and when it is available, right? So the customers who has access, customers and partners in US and EU control planes can create a web IDE using Anypoint Code Builder. To get started, the org admins just needs to accept the terms and conditions, beta terms and conditions, and grant Anypoint Code Builder permissions. So please, we'll look at how to grant the permissions later in this session. Please note that the web IDE created during a trial will be suspended once the trial period ends. In the beginning of the demo, we have seen that my account was showing the trial period has expired, right? In the same way, if you are with the trial account with Anypoint platform, it will expire. Once it expires, then Anypoint Code Builder you will not have access towards it. And if you have license, then you can get started with that. And what is available, right? You have access to a range of powerful tools and features in Anypoint Code Builder. This includes things like iterative scaffolding, interactive canvas, exchange search, snippets, and a component palette. You can also work with business groups, utilize the Cloud IDE, and manage your API lifecycle from design and implementation to debugging and deployment, all at one place. The tool supports UI and XML split view, as we have seen, GraphQL implementation, data view, Mule Runtime 4.4 and higher. And right now, the deployments will be automatically sent to Cloud of 1.0. It's a comprehensive environment for your development needs. When it will be available? The next question. The good news is that Anypoint Code Builder public beta is already available for you to use. It's here, plus you can expect new updates and improvements coming out every 2 months until it reaches general availability. So you have access to it now, and it's getting even better with regular updates. Keep an eye on all the things from Anypoint Code Builder. So here is the roadmap. We have started with the first beta version in Feb 2023. As we have discussed, there was no interactive canvas. It was just a representation of flows. And in the 20 April, we have the interactive canvas where you can click and drag and drop. And in June, we have it all of that available for the EU control plane as well. And in August, we have the desktop version, that is the Visual Studio code extension um, for the Anypoint Code Builder. And now we are past the October 2023. So this is the most exciting part. We have the generative AI present, but it's not open for everybody. It's a closed pilot program, and the customers have to register for that with their account representatives uh, if they are interested. So while there has been a lot of buzz with the generative AI, there are also considerable and justified concerns about the quality and security of the AI enabled features. So for us, it was critical that we build an experience that our customers trust in, right? Through Einstein, we are able to harness the power of generative AI specifically for Mule developers and use it as a grounded, secure mechanism to help our developers become more productive and efficient. So this is what we have discussed so far. We have the canvas, we have the code in XML view, right? This is how what Endpoint Code Builder does. But now making sure our developers have to start from scratch Einstein takes prompts describing the desired business logic and transform it into flows that developers can customize from their specific needs. So, prompts with Einstein is the new feature which makes Anypoint Code Builder the greatest product for development. So, and the most exciting addition, we are bringing the power of AI to MuleSoft, right? With the Einstein for Anypoint Code Builder. Einstein will be available natively in Anypoint Code Builder, and and will help developers jumpstart projects by using natural language prompts to generate interaction flows. After inputting a prompt, Einstein will jump into action, creating the code that matches your use case. Einstein will incorporate business logic, core components, pre-building connectors, and we are slowly rolling out functionalities to leverage the connectors from Exchange as well. So Einstein for Endpoint Code Builder is currently in pilot, as I said. If your organization is interested, you would need to reach out to the uh, Salesforce account team members. So as you have seen here in the diagram, there is start with AI, which is present here, right? And if you click that, that will open the chatbot here, Einstein chatbot here. So there you can generate a flow that reads account data for the database, and you can write, and then it will also give you some of the prompts that you can ask, right? It is that friendly. So let's look at the demo of Anypoint Code Builder, right? With the Einstein. So let's go here, and then let me refresh. One moment.
Anypoint Code Builder is the next evolution from MuleSoft. Developers building integrations and APIs can use this new VS Code-based IDE to build their applications. This low-code and pro-code platform enables developers to build applications in two modes. The first with UI and configuration, or the second by editing the XML code directly. But what if we added a third mode that could help anyone become an expert? With Einstein for Anypoint Code Builder, our developers get started quickly and build fast. Projects that once took hundreds of hours to create can now only take a few. Making sure our developers never have to start from scratch, Einstein takes prompts describing the desired business logic and transforms it into Mule flows that developers can implement for their specific needs. Suppose I want a list of all opportunity objects where the amount is greater than $10,000 in a CSV format. I know that I need a way to fetch these objects from Salesforce and transform them to the desired format, but I'm not quite sure how to get started with building my actual flow. Thankfully, when I navigate to Anypoint Code Builder, I can either choose to start from scratch or to start with AI. By choosing to start with AI, a new window pane is launched on the right, which hosts an interface that enables developers to easily engage with Einstein, the ultimate AI assistant for turbocharging productivity. Here I can ask Einstein to create a flow that queries opportunity objects where the amount is greater than $10,000 and transforms it into a CSV. After sending the prompts, I receive a generated response from Einstein that I can use in my project. And in reviewing the flow, I see that it has a Salesforce query object to retrieve the opportunities from Salesforce, and a data weave element to transform it into the CSV format. Einstein has just generated the flow for me. The window pane also contains a history tab where I can navigate to up to 50 prompts that I previously sent to Einstein. This makes it incredibly easy for me to navigate between prompts and responses without repeatedly sending them. Notice the prompt that I just sent is already in the history tab. So using this tab, I go back to my initial flow to query the relevant opportunity objects. Here, I can either choose to copy the flow or to insert it into my project with a single click. Notice that when I insert the new elements for the first time, the necessary dependencies for these elements are automatically added to my project.
Lastly, I use snippets to insert a configuration that will enable my application to connect to my Salesforce org. Snippets are built-in or customizable pieces of code that I can reuse when building my application. They make it incredibly easy for me to finish. And just like that, I have an application that I can deploy and run. At MuleSoft, we love our developers, and by integrating the powerful capabilities of Einstein into Anypoint Code Builder, MuleSoft developers never have to start from scratch and don't need years of experience to create real value.
So that is the great demo of Einstein with the Anypoint Code Builder. Hope it made sense to you. So let's now look at the LLMs, how this is entire thing is happening, right? What exactly is how we are getting the Einstein into the Anypoint Code Builder. So if you see, it starts with the engine, like to accept the natural prompts and to give out the response. Um, the large language models are responsible for this. These large language models are the heart of the generative AI capabilities and are based and are the base for the powerful transformative functionalities that we know of. So next is the Einstein trust layer, so which is our the connective tissue that bridges our platforms and the large language models at the bottom. So this layer is the connective tissue that enables us to bring the generative AI technology into our platform with Einstein. We have added security and trust guardrails in place, ensuring that all requests are handled safely and securely. And that is there, um, and there is no data retained in the OpenAI, right? These three layers combine to build the Einstein for Anypoint Code Builder experience. Imagine a world there where developers can kickstart their projects with the power of AI. That's exactly what AI-based Anypoint Code Builder brings to the table. It's like having a code companion that understands the Mule DSL language, helping developers generate solid flows and get up and running on the Mule platform in no time. This isn't just about the saving time, it's about empowering developers by removing obstacles right within their workflow. This with this tool, there is we are not just talking about code, we are talking about boosting productivity and accelerating the journey to value. So let's take a deeper look at how the trust layer works, right? So if you see here, it starts with the Anypoint Code Builder, where we can send these prompts to the Einstein. Then we use the MuleSoft proprietary data to ground these prompts before sending them to the OpenAI via the gateway. So, because of our shared trust boundaries with Einstein, we make sure that prompts are sent securely and safely to these external models, and that there is zero data retained outside of Salesforce. Once a response is generated, it is sent back to the gateway, and we do a validity check to make sure that flows work with the MuleSoft ecosystem. Lastly, we log the prompt and generate responses for monitoring before scarfacing the validated responses in Anypoint Code Builder. That's how the trust layer works. So I hope it made sense to you. And let's look at in a high level. Okay. So basically, developer comes and develop an integration in the Anypoint Code Builder, or you can he has an option either to start from the scratch or jump start with the AI. So he can also start with the AI. Once if he chooses AI, then you can put an prompt in the Einstein, like the request will generate a flow that sends an email with a new case. When a new case is created in Salesforce, if this is the developer's question or the prompt, then once he has to insert that prompt into the Einstein, and it will generate the flows for you. So use these flows, use this as a snippets again to add in the configuration. So this is how the high level of how the flow works. So how to get this set up, right? There are two roles here, right? One is the administrator role, other is a user role. User is the one who interacts with the Anypoint platform, or the one who interacts with the Anypoint code builder. And the administrator is the one who has to give permissions to these users. So let's talk about from the perspective of administrator, then we'll slide into the user's perspective. So administrator has to first log into Anypoint platform as we normally log into the platform in the same way, and then he has to enable the permissions for your roles or teams. So again, to give permissions, if your organization is using roles, then roles has to be configured, or if they're using teams, then teams has to be configured to enable those permissions. So log into platform, as we know, this is how you log into platform: username, password, and MFA is enabled, then just pass through that. And navigate to the Anypoint access management. Here you can see you have access management. You go inside that, and inside the access management, again, as I said, if there are roles existing with this the business group, which defines the set of resources, then to grant permissions to Anypoint code builder, you can utilize teams or roles. Roles are associated with business groups and determine what resources a user can access. You have the flexibility to use an existing role or create a custom one to fit your needs. Teams is Anypoint code builder. If you are like a group with specific permissions, and they are not tied to the business group, they create a hierarchical structure of users and permissions, and you can enable those permissions to the teams as well. So using roles to enable permissions, so normally you go into the access management, business groups, and then in the business groups, go to the roles at the top here. Under the roles, you'll get to create new role if you don't have one, and give the name and description of the role. Once you have them, you have to select that role, and then when you go inside, you will see this Anypoint code builder developer and Mule developer generative AI user. This both permissions has to be enabled for that role. Once you enable, then you can add the permissions, and to that particular role you can add the members. So all these members will be having those permissions. And if your organization is using the teams to enable the permissions, then still it's in the same place in the access management. Go to teams. In the teams, you have create teams. If you have to create new, and give the same name and parent team name to create the team. After you create, select that team, and in under permissions here, you have to add the permissions, and those permissions are still the same as we have seen for the roles. These are the two permissions you enable, and then give it to your business groups, and then add the permission, and to that permission for that role you can add members, right, to those teams. That's how you add permissions. Once you are done, then prepare your Anypoint code builder instance. So as we have seen, there are two. One is prepare your Anypoint code builder for desktop instance, and the other one is native to your Anypoint code builder IDE. So if you we have already seen how to download and how to go to the IDE. So part 4, verify that desktop users are logged in. So how do you verify? At the bottom here, you can see that you are not logged into Anypoint platform. So here, as you see, I'm logged in, not logged into Anypoint platform. This is my Visual Studio desktop. So once how to log in? Just click on open, and then now I'm logged in. Do you want to log out of Anypoint platform? No. So this is how you log in, and then this is a demo. What is public beta? What if you are into public beta? Please do actively participate, provide feedback, participate in the surveys, and attend the sessions like these, and review sessions, and write a blog if you can, to develop this community. And thank you for attending the session. We are right on time, and this is the Einstein Code Builder. Hope you like the session. Any questions, please feel to drop in the chat box. Thank you. Naresh, any thoughts?
It's good. Nice presentation, Jyoti. It's
Thank you.
really insightful, and yeah, how Einstein is used here, I think it's really helpful for the audience. I hope anyone from the audience have any specific questions, uh, to Jyoti, you can ask in the chat.
We'll have this recording published to the MuleSoft Meetup, Columbus MuleSoft Meetup page once it's out.
Yeah, yes. So you can see this demo and the Einstein demo in the meetup uh, in the meetup page. So it's good. Okay. There's a question about the.
Yeah, it's in closed pilot, but if you want to register for that, you'd need to reach out to the Salesforce um, agents, your account teams.
Yeah, if you're using MuleSoft or Salesforce, you can reach out to uh, your customer service representative from Salesforce or MuleSoft. Definitely. Is it something that freely available to test, Jyoti, or you know?
Not as of now, it's
Okay,
closed pilot, but it will be. I'm thinking it's not. There is no official, but you can look at the roadmap of Anypoint Code Builder online. There you will see it. It might be targeted to next quarter.
okay, that's good. Nice. I think right now also ChatGPT, if you can query MuleSoft, uh, it is giving code. So probably Einstein AI is better. Um, Internally, it's connecting to ChatGPT, finding you know the better code that is suited for based on the prompt that you asked. I think it looks great and exciting, and hopefully the development effort will greatly reduced going forward once we have Einstein AI available. Yeah, that's good. Okay, if we don't have any questions from the audience, I think that's it for today. We will be wrapping up the session, and you will get an email about the feedback of the session. You can provide the comments. We can have a follow-up session on Anypoint code builder. Jyoti might present on that. So we just need some kind of feedback, what exactly you're looking for in the upcoming sessions related to code builder, so we can work accordingly.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, I'm stopping recording, Jyoti. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you all. Thanks for joining.
thanks, Jyoti.
Thank you, Naresh.